Many people know about chinchillas, but not many people know what they are or how to take care of them. So why should we care? I grew up helping breed and raise these fluffy little rodents. And I know that it can be extremely difficult once they get sick to get them back to health. Yet it's extremely easy to keep them healthy if you know what you're doing. The chinchillas are one of the few exotic pets that you can get without getting an exotic pet license. The exotic pet license has training behind it, which shows people how to properly feed, care for, bathe, and house their animals. Because of this, a lot of people don't know how to take care of these fluffy little creatures. According to the Veterinary Center for Birds and Exotics, a cage for a chinchilla should be at least 3 feet by 2 feet by 2 feet. This means that if you have a single chinchilla, that is the minimum they need to be healthy. However, chinchillas are from the mountains. They love to jump and have high perches, and thus a taller cage with shelves for them to sit on makes them happier, and having a longer and wider cage for them to run around and get all their energy out is the best way to go. It is important to make sure, though, that the bottom of the cage is not a wire mesh cage. And if it is, it needs to have something over it, because standing on the metal wires can actually harm their feet and cause them to get infected sores. When picking the place for your cage, it's important to remember to keep them out of direct sunlight, as they cannot sweat and they have very thick coats, and keep them out of drafts. Usually between 50 and 80 degrees is the healthy temperature for a chinchilla. And if you put a small slab of marble in the bottom of the cage, they will use that to cool down if they get too hot. When picking their bedding, it's important to never choose any kind of wood, especially cedar or pine. Cedar comes with large chunks and splinters in it. And not only will you get splinters, but their feet don't have calluses on them just like human feet, they have to build it up. So they'll get these splinters and get infected feet. And then you'll have to pay to get their feet fixed, which is a huge vet bill. And pine oil is toxic to chinchillas in large amounts. And because chinchillas are like any other kind of rodent and eat their shavings, as well as sit on them, they will absorb up the oil and get sick. So the best type of bedding is the paper bedding, and it's because it's recycled, it's soft, and it even comes in multiple colors. So you can have all the fun in the world making rainbow cages, you can have their personality cages, whatever you want. If you do need to make sure, though, that you change their bedding at least every 2 weeks minimum, and that once a week is probably best for their health. Chinchilla urine has no odor, and so if you smell something in their cage, it means that their bedding needs to be cleaned, as it has started to rot, or they could even have rotten food in their cage. So you need to make sure that if their cages start smelling, clean it immediately. Now, with washing chinchillas, do not put them in water. Their fur is so thick that the top layer will dry very quickly, but the bottom layer won't, and a lot of times won't completely dry at all. And so you can actually give them fur rot. If you do get them wet on accident, get a blow dryer, set it on its lowest setting, and keep it at least 2 feet away while blow drying the chinchilla. Then take them to the vet and have them be checked over. And if you do have to blow dry the chinchilla, make sure to avoid their ears, as their ears are actually very wide, and you can send that hot air right down and it'll blow out their eardrums. You really don't want to damage a chinchilla's inner ear. To actually bathe them, you get a special chinchilla bath, which is cleaned volcanic ash. And yes, it sounds messy. Yes, they spin it up in the air sometimes, but it vacuums up very easily. It wipes off very easy. And it'll make them feel a little gritty afterwards, but that's actually a good sign. It cleans up the oils out of their fur. All you have to do is you can buy it pre-made from any pet store. It actually is marked Chinchilla Bath. Comes in usually cylinder containers about this tall. And you just put it in a chinchilla bath container and let them roll around in it once a week. Now, for their food, diet's very important. They need a pellet-based meal, and you can find these at any pet store. A lot of them will say chinchilla food right on it. Get that, that's the best basic diet. They also need to have timothy and alfalfa hay. The alfalfa should only be given in small amounts and very rarely as it's a treat because it will make them get fat. Fruit is also amazing to give chinchillas. Just like it's healthy for us, it's amazingly healthy for them. However, there are a few types that you should never ever feed to chinchillas, including citrus fruit. Citrus poisons them. You want to make sure to give them things like apples, raisins, dried mangoes, and bananas. But if you give them grapes, make sure to peel the skin off as they can choke on it. Fresh vegetables are also very important, such as lettuce, carrots, and tomatoes. The tomatoes should be cut in half for a chinchilla and then given to them. And make sure you wash anything you give them beforehand if it's fruits or vegetables to make sure there's no pesticides or dirt on it. So, while this all sounds like a lot of work, it's relatively easy to keep a chinchilla happy and healthy, and have a little fuzzy friend that can be around for over 20 years. And as long as chinchilla is given a good diet, a large cage to play in, and taken care of properly, they shouldn't have any health issues. And if you know anyone getting a chinchilla, please make sure they know that while they are a small animal, they do have different needs than other small pets, such as a gerbil or a mouse. So make sure that they understand that you can't put them in the same kind of cage that you could put like a rat in. So go out and buy yourself a chinchilla if you want a social loving pet that has no allergens in their fur or urine, making them perfect for apartments or a house pet.